Becky Salgado with Miami Moms Blog, and I'm here with Dr. Joe Scott, the director of the ER here at West Kendall Baptist Hospital. And we're here to talk about toy safety. So, Dr. Scott, I'm sure around the holidays you must see a lot of patients come in. Kids are getting toys. Tell us about what it's like here at the hospital for you.
We're always busy, but yes, we tend to see a few more, especially after the holiday, with the new toys that kids bring in, and unfortunately the accidents that occur with them.
So tell parents at home, what kind of injuries do you typically see due to all these toys?
The more common ones, and the ones we don't worry about, are the typical small items up the nose, in the ear, those kind of issues. The ones that become more serious are the injuries, the cuts, the abrasions, the falls, the trauma that comes from many accidents. And then, of course, occasionally we see also the swallowing.
Okay, and what kinds of toys should parents keep an extra eye on?
Depends a lot on the age group you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if your child is, say, under 3 years old, mm-hmm. we're worried about those parts that they can ingest. Okay, anything they can put in their mouth. Remember, that's how they explore the world. Okay. Yeah. So any small item that can go in the mouth or be swallowed is what we worry the most about. Okay,
so I'm guessing that would be something like maybe some of these toys, some of these
Exactly. So they're colorful, they're bright,
yeah.
and they're great to, looks like to chew on. They look tasty, right? So these are the kind of things you would definitely worry about. And I'm going to guess that these belong to an older child.
Yeah.
Okay, but if they're lying around for a younger child to find, that's going to be a problem.
Definitely. Yeah, that's how it is at many houses where the older sibling might have these toys and you want to kind of keep them away from the younger sibling where they could potentially be a hazard to them.
And we worry about these small toys, but you have to remember that the larger toys that are compressible, mm-hmm. so say like a Nerf ball that looks big and normally wouldn't fit in somebody's mouth, if compressed will swallowed and then expand. So you have to worry about that as well.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a good tip because that's something that even I as a mom had never thought of. Now I know there's other toys like these that maybe initially don't seem like a choking hazard, but I know that they have the button batteries. So tell us about that.
Button batteries are the things that we do not like, okay? Button batteries, those disc batteries you find in cameras and lots of toys, are easy to swallow. They kind of look like candy or a coin as well, but they tend to get stuck, and when they get stuck, they tend to leak. And when they leak, that's what causes internal damage. So anybody that's possibly swallowed a button battery needs to be seen in the emergency department right away.
Okay, thank you. And now for the older kids who maybe, we're not worried about them choking on anything or sticking anything up their nose, but what kind of injuries do we need to be careful for with our older kids?
I think it's important to realize what is the toy that causes the most problems. Mm-hmm. And you may not realize that. It's a scooter, a non-motorized scooter. Mm-hmm. But basically anything that a child can ride on is probably going to be a source of injuries. Okay. And in the age range from 3 to like 12 or 15 years old, mm-hmm. non-motorized scooters are actually the largest problem in the United States, with sometimes up to 40% of the injuries.
Oh, wow.
In that age group.
And so what kind of injuries do you typically see from falls and things like that off of those?
Start at the head and go down. Okay, so if you think about that, because sadly it's going to be the head and the neck that's injured more than 40% of the time. And then the arms. So if you're worried about your child and you don't want them injured and you don't want to see the scar on their face, be careful with this. But they tend to fall off these objects. Yeah. So for instance, you're teaching your child how to ride a bicycle. Mm-hmm. Bicycle, we put them in helmets, we run behind them, we're really careful with them. Yeah. But the 5-year-old, here's a scooter under the tree, go try it out. Yeah. That's the person that's going to get injured. That's the person that's going to fall and do a face plant.
Okay, yeah.
And those are the ones we worry about.
And so definitely helmets, because I know a lot of kids fight that they don't want the helmet or they don't like how it looks or it feels uncomfortable, but helmets definitely a yes, right?
Helmets are huge. I mean, most people have to understand we see a lot of injuries. Fortunately, the vast majority of them are things that we can repair in the emergency department, the cuts, the bruises, but occasionally you have those severe head injuries and nobody wants that, and a helmet protects.
Yeah. Okay, now Dr. Scott, we did talk about how these small toys can definitely pose as a choking hazard for kids. Mm-hmm. So what other kinds of toys should parents watch out for?
I like to think of 3 groups, okay? The first is anything rideable, okay? So your scooters, hoverboards, all those kind of issues. We see a lot of injuries with those. Number 2 is anything that can cause a projectile. So Nerf guns, etc. Even though they're soft parts, they can cause damage to eyes. They can cause damage to other parts as well. And then third, of course, is the smaller items like this. The other thing I would think about is toys that you come apart easily. So it may look really nicely, but if the wheels come off easily, now it becomes a choking hazard. And sadly, the other thing that we have to think about is that toys that look realistic, okay? So we have people that like to have toy guns, but guns have become so realistic, and now we're tending to see unintentional injuries when a child has what looks like a realistic gun in their hands.
You know, obviously these that are very small for the older kids, and then they have these for babies. Would you say that these are in fact safe for the smaller kids?
They are safer as long as they cannot get it in their mouth and swallow it. And this is fairly large for a younger child, so probably safe and a good idea.
Can this be hazardous for little kids who maybe decide to try to eat it? What are your thoughts on that?
Anything in large amounts is going to be hazardous, okay? But fortunately, Play-Doh has been around for a long time, okay? And it typically is non-toxic, so a small amount ingested is not going to cause a problem. It is made from wheat. So if you have a gluten allergy, this could be a problem.
Yeah, not gluten-free, guys.
But otherwise, usually we don't worry too much.
Parents, as we do head into the holidays and they will be seeing all these toys, just any general tips of safety around the house?
One of the most important things is actually clean up. Clean up all the toys. Don't leave them around, okay? In this situation, obviously, the older child's toys can be found by the younger child. We also have to remember these scooters and things like that. The younger one may try it. But even more importantly, we have 3-generation households now, okay? So abuela or grandma who's 80 years old and steps on a scooter, now you have a broken hip. Okay, so all toys need to be put away.
Awesome, thank you so much.
My pleasure.